Hold on 1 second, y'all. Okay, hello everybody. Happy Sunday.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good, and you?
Good. Feels like it's been a minute. Okay, let me share my charts. I know it has been too long. I've been so busy. I got a lot going on. Let me share my screen though. So first I want to let y'all know like CPI is coming out Tuesday, and basically CPI, Consumer Price Index, it's basically just indicating like if things are getting more expensive or not. So anytime CPI comes out, that always shifts the market. So we'll be seeing that data coming out on Tuesday. So right now, I gave the analysis last week on GU. I didn't really update the group on that because I honestly wasn't really focusing on GU. I was mostly just trading gold. And y'all already know like gold is really my primary pair. Like when it comes to other pairs, I don't know, it just don't hit the same for me as gold. Gold is just, I just be on gold. That's that. But GU, I know last week what I was saying, I think we're around this area right here. And I was saying to look for a break and retest of this trend line. It didn't give that break and retest, but it did come down and retest this zone, and it created a new lower high, and then it pushed down to this blue trend line. Now I said once it gets to this blue trend line, you can get in for a buy. And you see clearly, if you take advantage of that, you'll be up where price is right now, 94 pips. So that part played out. And I said, since we are this red area right here, this is a daily zone. So since this is a higher level, it's going to have like consolidation in that area. It's going to sit in that area for a minute. So where we are right now, I want to see if price, because right now another high was made, a lower high. This high is slightly lower than this high, but I want to see, since we're at this blue trend line, which is my 4-hour trend line right here, I want to see if it's going to continue to, if it's going to retest that trend line, or if it's going to break through, retest, and then drop. Because we do have a divergence on this pair on the 4-hour. But since it's on the 4-hour, of course, that means it's going to take a while to transition into that downtrend. But as you can see on the RSI, we have new lower highs being created, and the market's clearly doing the opposite. So this blue trend line has been a leading indicator, just showing that overall the bias on this, if you go based off bias and you don't trade like the pullbacks, overall bias will be mainly buys. So if price continues to respect this blue trend line, we're going to still look for majority buys. But right now, since we are in this red zone, there's two scenarios. So I like to look at it from both sides of the market because, first of all, I don't know, market been a little iffy, but in general, you just always want to be safe rather than sorry. So you always want to have both sides of the market plan out just in case the market goes against you, because we just go off our highest possibility based off what we see, but the market can always just do what it do. But right now, so let me go over that right now. So this was a 1-hour trend that I had. So it's point A, point B, pull back, it retested this green zone. This is my 1 hour zone right here. So as you can see, it had resistance, broke and retest multiple times. And it came slightly to my 61.8. It really closed at 50. And usually when it closes at 50, it goes to TP1. But since it pushed down to 61.8, I want to see if price is going to continue to push up to 61.8, which is right here at 1.2372. So based off that, if price continues to respect that, I can move this fib over because we can be looking at something like this. But that will really depend on if this trend line continues to get respected. Because you can even like put a little baby fib. So yeah, if that plays out, honestly, like I could see that happening since, let me move this bigger one out the way and make sure it's lined up. So as you can see, this 1 hour fib that I just moved over is lined up with this baby 30-minute fib that I just placed. So if price was to retest this trend line, it'll be hitting 38.2 on the fib, which means it's just going to go straight up to TP. And that TP is aligned with TP2 off that 1 hour fib. So if price retests this trend line, that'll be the right now money to get in. And like I always say, I always place my stop loss just a little bit before TP, because sometimes price be weird and it be acting like it don't want to go somewhere when it know it should. But it's always best just to get your profits. So taking that up just to like even like right here a little bit before it, that's 119 pips that you can get out of that trade if it continues to respect this trend line. Now, that's the first scenario on what I see happening based off that major fib that I have. But like I said, I'm kind of like 50-50 on it because like I just explained how it did stop at 50, but then it came down to that 61. So I'm not sure if it's going to continue to respect this TP1 that was already hit off this 1 hour fib, or if it's going to that 61.8. But like I said, I'm basing it off this whole blue 4 hour trend line that I have that's holding price up. Is that making sense to everybody?
Yes, I have the same analysis.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, GBP coming out too. Okay. How do I get rid of this? Why is that this chat still here? Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's the first scenario. Now, the second scenario that I see is since this high, since price created a new lower high, and we're in this red zone and we have divergence. Let me see if we have divergence on the 1 hour. We have a little bit, as you can see on the RSI, like this high is equivalent to this high. This low is lower than this low, but on the chart, it's the opposite. So this low is lower than this, but on here, this low is lower. So that's like a slight divergence, nothing like super crystal clear. But like I said, it's because we're in that daily zone. So it's mainly consolidation. So what I would look for, since we are in this range, if price was to break here, I'll make this another color. If price was to break here, you can look for a retest like that. You can also get a little zone. Let me bring this over here. So price can either come right here or up here, And then wherever, if price came to this trend line, get a sell, but only do baby fibs. I would only take it down to this zone right here. Because this zone, as you can see, it's been respected really heavy. And this is a whole consolidation zone in itself. So none of these highs aren't really being broken and these lows aren't really being broken. So if you get a retest, I would just take it down to that green zone right there. And as long as these lows aren't being broken, this is a minor low right here, this first orange, and then this second orange is a major low. So if price were to pass, like if price were to come all the way down here, like clearly we're going to be in a downtrend. But for right now, it will just be minor trades. So you'll be on the 30-minute or 15-minute. Let me see. Yeah, so price could, I want to see like if price push down, push back up for a retest either at this zone or at that blue trend line and then push down. Even if it comes, yeah, that's what I'll look for if it continues to push down. But since we're currently at this blue trend line, I don't know, it hasn't done any type of little pullback. As you see, it's just been pushing down. It could keep pushing up, but those are just like both the scenarios. I want to give both sides to it just so you guys are prepared. But just know for sure, like no matter what, this blue trend line gives the overall bias of where we are. And also just based off this 4-hour 2, another indication that a reversal is coming is because we hit TP2 on that higher time frame. So overall, like the bigger picture, I still see sales are valid. This is a daily fib that I have, but you know, higher time frames just take forever. But my daily really just gives you like my overall target on what I'm looking for. But I just wanted to show you guys that. What else was I thinking about GU? So yeah, that's basically it. So if we get this retest, I'll be looking for a price to push up to 61.8 around this area. If not, get in for minor sales. And yeah, and that's basically it for GU. Does anybody have any questions or comments or any insights of what you guys are seeing before I go on to gold? Is someone saying something? I can't really hear. Okay. All right, well, okay, let's go on to gold then. Okay, so gold, same scenario. They're both in the same bucket right now. So right now I took profit. I literally took profit for gold. I got in right here at this blue entry. So last week I had told you guys we was looking for that break and that retest. That literally happened overnight. That was on a minor structure, break and retest, and got in on that second candle and dropped down for 250 pips. And then I said, if price retests this blue trend line, which is my 4-hour, honestly, like, to be honest, y'all, like, I am falling in love with, like, really reading, like, the higher time frames. Like, I really trade off, like, the 4-hour and the 1-hour. I don't really do, like, the 30-minute and 15-minute. That stuff it start getting too just messy for me. The higher time frame just be way cleaner. But anyways, so I said if price came back to this blue trend line, which I had last week, to get in for a buy. And so I got in for my buy and I took profit right up here at this zone, literally for 270 pips. And And at first I was thinking about holding it, but then I looked at my charts and I'm like, no, because we're in this zone area. And even if price like comes back down and doesn't break this low, like there's always going to be another trade to get in, and you rather just take profit instead of trying to risk it. And I was already up like 270 pips, like I said. So why would I even do myself like that? So for gold overall, like I said, we hit TP2. This was a daily fib that I had. So you see TP2, which is right here at this zone. And this zone, of course, is a key level. And I also just want to bring up the fact that too, it's important to look at your higher time frames, because, you know, people always talk about market manipulation. And honestly, like when the banks push price, they get people on the smaller time frames. That's why when news comes out, a lot of people get stopped out. That's when a lot of people lose a lot of money, because a lot of traders, they stay like on that 5 minute, that 1 minute, and that 15 minute. But if you know the overall direction on the higher time frame, you will not get stopped up by the banks or none of that. None of that market manipulation will affect you, because now that you know that, you're going to be able to take advantage of that. And all of us traders, we're looking at the same charts. So this whole zone that I'm showing y'all, like it's a million other traders that see this zone. So sometimes too, like when it comes to these areas and putting these zones in, these key levels, sometimes price pushes past it a little bit before it goes in that direction, because they want to scare people out of the way so that they can get in. So for example, like, let's just say you looking for price to come up and you're like, okay, we're pushing up, and you're probably on like the 5 minute, and you could be looking at something like here, and up, right? So you see price stop right there, and then you got scared, you pulled out. Now it's a whole bunch of sellers. You come back to this area right here, and you're like, okay, maybe we're gonna have resistance. I mean, you're probably thinking like maybe we're gonna have a bullish momentum, and again, you get stopped out, people get scared, and then the bank pushes it right up. But if you know overall structure, like especially since I had this blue zone right here, like that's my 4-hour structure. So I know since price came to this area and it retested it multiple times, that's a heavy level of support. So that means that price is going to have a heavy push up. So overall, I know like that's the movement that's going to happen. But if you don't know that and you're just stuck on the smaller time frames, you're going to get scared. You're going to get stopped out. Your stop loss is going to get hot. It is going to get hit because you just don't have that in the back of your mind. So that's important to know too. And that's why I feel like zones are important, because they give you a range instead of like pinpointing a certain area. Because if you have a area that's pinpointed, price isn't always going to stop at that area, but it can range in that specific area. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody, what I'm saying? Or if not, I can clarify it a little bit more.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Okay,
I mean, for me, it does.
Right, yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, cool. So that's why it's really important to be aware of that. That's why even here, like you see all these wick exhaustions, like pushing up, pushing down, pushing up. It's just sellers and buyers just fighting each other, but that's a range. But if you see that on the overall higher time frame, that's going to help you know the overall direction. So that's nothing to be scared of, but just knowing that can you can take advantage of that. But back to what I was saying. So what I'm looking at right now for gold, there's divergence on both the daily and the 4-hour, but like I said, higher time frames always take a long time to play out. I just want to show you guys. So right here, you can see these lows, the lower high being created, but the chart is doing the opposite. It's making higher highs. So that shows like a sell is coming, as well as being at this zone, and it's testing as resistance. So at first, what I was looking at was price to come to this blue trend line and then push up to, oh, let me get this right. I was looking for price to push up to this TP, but then I was like, of course, there has to be multiple confluences that go into it. And I was overall looking at this structure right here. And this is inside of the bigger fib. So let me hide this big one because that's maybe. Okay, now let me make this another color. So I'm looking at here, pull back, and then push up. But based off this fib, we hit 23.6, which means that there's gonna be consolidation. So honestly, like not looking too far into the future, but it makes sense for price to reverse right now because first of all, that is a daily zone. We created a lower high, and also we already tested as resistance. So it makes sense for price to give some bearish momentum, like how I drew this this ghost pattern right here, and to come back down to this key level. And that's because since we hit 23.6 on the 4-hour, that means that we're gonna have consolidation. And y'all know consolidation means just sideways movement. And like I said, 4-hour takes a long time to play out. So I can see that potentially happening and not it just pushing up to that area if it does. So that's for the 4-hour. Now, if you go into the 1-hour, where prices is right now, I was looking at the RSI. We're kind of like flat line right here, but as you can see in the market, we're in the uptrend, but it's kind of consolidating right here. But if you look at the end, we see that there's lower lows being made, but that's not the case in the chart. So that's also showing me that a reversal is coming. So there's multiple confluences showing me a reversal, just showing that this and the RSI are doing the opposite. We had this high and then a lower high being created. We're also at this daily zone. So if price breaks through this orange trend line that I have, which is like a little zone, I just put trend line just to alert me, just to show me where price is. So if price gives a break and it passes these lows right here, because this is a lower time frame, and then it comes back and retests this blue trend line, and it creates a new lower high like that, then let me there we go. Then you can get in for a sell. And there's two things you can do. You can either take this little baby one right here, wherever price stops, you'll add your fib, and then take it, enter off of it, and then take it down to, let's just say if it hits 61.8, you can just take it down to this green zone, to TP1, and that's 160 pips. And that's the right now money. Now, let me get rid of all of this. Now, if price continues to respect this blue trend line, like I know right now, as we're looking at it, like price is like passing it a little bit, but if it makes another candle, just like how it did right here, you can get in for another buy. And what I would do is just on this alert, on this trend line right here, you could put it at this previous high and see if it passes it or not. So if you were to get in a buy, you want to see if it's going to pass this high and continue to push up, and then see if it'll go to this 4-hour TP1 right here, around 1828. And what I like to do too is I like to just put lines on those highs just to see what price is doing, like I said. So if you were to get in that buy, if price does that, if it creates like a wick exhaustion candle, you'll just look for buys and just see if price continues to go up to that TP1. But if not, definitely wait for that break, wait for a retest, and take it down to that green zone for your first TP. Price can also come back, retest here, and drop to this zone. That's what I could potentially see as well. Price doing something like this. But this is the higher time frame. This isn't the right now money. It takes time for this one to play out. So it'll be here, 88.6, and since it's 88.6, it's going to take longer to play out. So you'll be seeing a lot of lower highs and lower lows being made until it hits TP2, which is aligned with that 4-hour zone. And then once it gets to that well, I ain't even gonna get into all that because I don't want to give out too much. But that's basically it. Does that make sense to everybody, or does anybody have any questions? Did I break down everything pretty simple to understand?
Yeah, you did. So so just to confirm so for gold, I did see what's it called? I do have an area where prices are currently at the moment. I've got a higher low zone. I've got a lot of zone there. Just waiting to see if that zone is being respected or is getting broken. Then pull out my fib all the way to that green area, and I'm waiting for another lower high to then take to that purple area you've got. So once price do that, are we then in a bearish market?
Yeah, I would say for minor, yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't consider us in a bearish market until we pass this low right here.
Okay.
That's at 1764.
Okay,
Because that's a major low. But these lows in between, like these are minor lows. So if these are, if price is ahead of this low, like we're still like could potentially be bullish. But once price like officially like passes these lows right here, then we're definitely bearish.
Okay, I'll move it out. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no problem. Does anybody else have any other questions? Do you know when you will be releasing your course? I know that you mentioned it before. Oh yeah, so my course is still coming. So I had a lot of setbacks, honestly. But everybody who was interested back then, like I'm still gonna give y'all what I promised y'all. And I'll make sure, like if you haven't DM'd me, I DM me if you're interested so I can give you the price for that, because the price that I'm giving to the public is going to be a totally different price. But there were a couple people who already DM me. So those who messaged me, the price is still the same once I release it. I just haven't done it yet. But I am working on it. I'm getting it out as fast as I can. This week is ready to go. I promise. This is the week. Yeah, I'm gonna be making a video as well, but just DM me just so that I can note that you're in my group, so that I can give you the course for that set price. But I'm still going to be creating the video as well. Okay, cool. All right. No problem. Does anybody else have any questions for gold, or how has everybody been feeling with the market in general?
I've been feeling good. I think like since I've come across you, like I'm so confident when it comes to gold. And yeah, like a year ago, I was just I was just scared. But now because of you, I'm just so confident because you just keep everything simple, structure, exhaustion candles, your areas, just keeping it simple using your feet. Just is great.
Yes, perfect. Yes, I love simplicity, and I try to make my chart as simple as possible. I used to have a whole bunch of stuff on my charts, and it really just makes life more difficult.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say one more thing.
Mhm.
Guys, do get the course. Um, believe me, do get the course. I got given access to it, but do get it. It will change your perspective, like in the market structure. I'm telling you, I used to struggle with it, but now I'm getting it now. Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm not making any mistakes.
Yes. And I just want to let everybody know too that like in trading, you have to be okay with taking a loss. Like losses come with trading as long as you are making sure to track your trades. Like for me, like personally, I record myself doing my markups so that I'm able to go back and see like if I messed up on my end or if like the market just did what it does. But what we want to do is we want to consistently become a better trader, but being a trader, like losses are going to happen. Like you can't win every single trade. Like losses happen, and once you're okay with being okay with taking a loss, like you're going to be on your way to becoming that trader that you want to become if you're not already in that place that you want to be in. But just know like losses are a part of the game, and I know a lot of people don't post their losses, but just know we all take them. But yeah, so anybody else have anything to say or any other questions before we get off? Y'all know I like to keep everything real simple, but I like to talk to y'all too.
I just want to ask a question. What's your take on the news coming out this week?
For which one, CPI or?
Is it FOMC that's this week?
Oh
I know.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for both.
Well, in general, like based off the market, like everybody trades off what Jerome says. So I know a couple weeks ago, he said how he was going to ease off of rates. So instead of doing like a 75 point increase, he was going to do a 50 basis point increase. But at the same time, there's history that says sometimes he doesn't always do what he's going to say. So it's like he can say he's going to do a 75 basis points, but then if he sees like employment is still good, because right now we're literally like, we are in a recession, but based off data, we're not in a recession, right? Like people are still spending money, people are still getting jobs, like nothing is seems like it's crashing down. And Jerome literally said that he's going to do whatever it takes until something breaks. And nothing is breaking. Everything, like the economy still seems like it's quote unquote stable. So even though he said like he's going to push back rates, he may do it this one time, but I still think he's going to be aggressive. But and I say that because what he does, he doesn't want people to panic. So that's why he's never, if you guys notice, if you watch like his past interviews, like he never says the word recession. He never says, he always like hints little things, but he never like blatantly says anything, because he knows that if he says the word recession or anything that has to do with recession, the stock market is probably gonna like lose like 30 to 40% of its value. So when it comes to like news coming out, I don't trade the news. But it really just depends on like what he says, honestly. Like I can't even say like, because the market reacts. I have my opinions on like overall, like what's going to happen in the next year. Within the next year, I feel like we're going to go into a deeper recession, and by the time it's too late is when he'll say something. But until then, like everybody just trades off of what he literally said that day of. So if you do trade the news, you just have to like be on top of that data and just trade based off what he says.
Yeah, that makes sense. So would you, yeah, because to be fair, I've watched the news and I've noticed that every single time there's a major announcement, either price will make a new lower low or price will literally just make a new high, which is weird. I've seen it a lot where it wicks up and then comes back. So it wicks up and then comes back down, or it wicks down and then eventually comes back up and just breaks structure either way. I've seen it happen a lot on the highest time frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it really like it's really based off like the emotions, because we're all human beings, we're all emotional. So whenever he's talking, he says something good or he says something bad, like that's what brings like the bullish and bearish just going back and forth, because literally people are just pressing buy, sell, buy, sell. It's like it's a lot. But like I was saying earlier, like overall, like the higher time frame trends, they're not gonna change. So you can still like get your overall bias based off the higher time frames. But when it comes to like the lower time frames and news, that's when it can get tricky.
Absolutely, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, of course. Does anybody else have anything to say before we wrap it up?
Oh yeah, quick last one. Do you think you're gonna be doing like have like well, do you think you're gonna be mentoring next year?
Oh no. Yeah, I'm going to be mentoring soon. So the course that I said that I'm dropping, it's really gonna be like a mentorship thing. But for those who were interested in the other price, that's based off like the portion of the psychology and stuff. But when it comes to like me and like really like the all-in-one, like the bigger package that I have, I am gonna do that. And I'll be talking about that this week as well.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. No problem. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else have anything? And I promise I'm gonna get this training done this week. I promise. I know I said I was gonna do it last week, but it was just so much. I had to redo a lot of things. But if nobody else has anything to say, that's pretty much it. We can wrap it up. And I just also want to remind everybody, like before you hop in the trade, always ask yourself when you're placing your stop loss, if price hits that stop loss, are you okay with losing that amount? If you're not okay with losing that amount, then that means you need to lower your lot size, because we want to stay in trading long term. We're not here just to get a quick buck. We're here to really like grow our account. And the best traders are the ones who have their psychology first. They have their psychology right. And I feel like trading is 90% psychology and 10% technicals, because you can trade all these strategies all day as you want, and switch up all as much as you want. But at the end of the day, like that does not matter. It doesn't matter what strategy you have. It matters how you react to the market. And that's why I'm doing a lot of teaching on psychology now. And that's what my mentorship is based off of. It's psychology, because that's the most important part. And like I said, I'm gonna be giving like, videos breaking down everything soon. And I'm gonna be getting back into the mentorship. I just finished my 6-week mentorship with my last group. I posted a few of the results on my Instagram, if you guys haven't seen it. And there's so much more just coming soon. But yeah, so I'm excited. And you guys just stay tuned. I'm gonna drop everything in the Discord too as well. And yeah. So if nobody else has anything to say, I don't want to be talking to myself. We can end this call now. Oh, I didn't even see the chat. Okay, yes, perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. And you guys have a good night. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Good night.